welcome to the second season of ImpactED podcast. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. We have a very special guest to start off our new season. It's none other than the man in charge, our superintendent, Dr. Anthony Mays. So Dr. Mays, welcome to the ImpactED podcast. How you doing?
I think I'm all right, but we'll see once you start asking me questions.
Okay, well, so we're going to start with like a softball one, okay? You've been in the district for about 10 months now. Can you let the people know exactly who you are? Because there may be some people that they know we have a new superintendent, but who exactly are you? What can you tell our listeners about Anthony Mays?
So I'll start with one, I'm a husband. A husband for next year will be 20 years for my wife and I. We started dating when we were 17 years old, and so we've been together 27 years, but married 20 years. And
Gotcha.
So I think that's important to know. And then I'm a dad. We have 3 babies, and so I say babies, but one of my daughters is actually in high school. The other 2 are elementary students at Reese Elementary. So those are 2 things that are important to me. But beyond that, I think just the notion of family is important to me. So I'm a grandson, I'm a son, I'm an uncle, I'm a cousin, so I think those are all pieces that are important to me. But another big piece of who I am is I'm an educator. And so lifelong learning is important to me. And so, here I am now having 20 plus years in the field of education, having served as a teacher, an assistant principal at the high school level, middle school level, principal at the high school level, middle school level, principal supervisor. Like, I've tried to make sure that I've gotten a whole gambit of experiences to help me be a strong professional contributor to the work that we do.
Wonderful. And I know you've been all around the state of Texas, so most people don't know that. You are a native of Fort Worth, right? Funky Town, Tarrant County, right? So you've been all around in your educational experience in the state of Texas. Where was your very first job, your educator job?
My very first educator job was, professionally, was probably at the campus of Houston-Tillerson. I started out with Upward Bound. So Upward Bound is something that is near and dear to my heart, just because I see what it does for students that are able to take advantage of it. And so I worked in Upward Bound for 3.5 years, and I worked in all kinds of capacities. I worked as a aide, I worked as a camp supervisor, just really getting a chance to know every aspect of Upward Bound. And I was there for 3.5 years.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you're a graduate of?
Houston-Tillerson College.
That's right, exactly. So moving on to the second question, you mentioned that you have 3 beautiful babies, and they are actually students in Alief ISD, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So this was actually your first day of school in the district. Even though you've been here since January, this marked your first day of school for you and your children. So can you tell our audience a little bit about how that experience was for you all?
Yeah, I think that for us, it was odd, of course. My wife, she's a professional, so she's working, and this was the first year that we probably had to open up the year without her present because of her job taking her out of town. So it was just the kids and I. And so, but it was cool because I think a lot of the people in our office and around the team knew that I was without my wife for like 2 weeks. So they were really helpful in helping me, make sure that the kids got the campus on time, that the kids had food to eat. Like, a lot of people brought meals by the office. So I was appreciative of just the community feel. So this year was unlike most first days of school, because normally the first days of school, I'm usually out and about at campuses, and my wife is trying to make sure that the babies, the kids, get to school on the first day. So this one was unique in a number of different ways, but I enjoyed it just because of the community support that I had on the first day.
Perfect. And I, of course, was lucky enough to be able to travel along with you that day, along with other people. And I remember you getting out and you're talking to the families and giving kids hugs, actually giving some family members hugs, because like they don't want to let the kids go.
Oh, no, they didn't.
So what was that experience for you? Because, of course, you've had it in other districts where you've been, from ACDE to Dallas to Austin. But how was that here in Alief?
It was unique. Like you say, I'm usually on the campuses and engaging with the families, but this one, I got a chance to go to our early learning center, so that was a little different. I had one of the kiddos that started running because he had to go to the restroom, and I was lost. I was like, okay, what do I do? Do I help him use it? Like, what do I do now? So secondary students have always been like kind of my focus. So being at the early learning center, these are very little babies was foreign for me. So, but I had fun. I enjoyed it. I definitely had an appreciation for the job that all of our team at the Early Learning Centers do, just because, yeah, it's a challenging job.
Yes, with the little bitty babies. Actually. Okay, so this is going to be a two-part question for you. Alief's mission is empowering students through unlimited opportunities to change the world. How does your personal vision as an educator and leader align with the district's vision? And then how do you see that vision manifesting itself in Alief ISD?
Yeah, so I think my personal vision and my personal philosophy is always, again, one of just continuous improvement and lifelong learning, right? So inherently, as educators, we are people in a position to unlock potential.
Yes.
And so I think that coincides with our, vision and mission as a campus. When we're talking about them going out and tackling the world, we have to be able to give our students the tools that they need to go out there and be competitive and tackle the world. As I've met with some of our graduate students or students that have graduated from here, just an affectionate love for Alief and the community that it brings. But they're candid in terms of sharing, like, hey, these were some of the challenges that I had as I left, and I want to make sure that students, as they leave here, are prepared, right? That they are capable of doing just what we say we want them to do in our vision and mission, which is change the world. And so we have to give them the tools here in Alief. And so that means critical thinking, that means writing at a high level, that means synthesis and analysis of high-level text. But we have to give them that exposure in every classroom here in Alief, Texas, so that when they leave our care and affection of this community, that when they get out there, they can tackle any challenge that's thrown in front of them.
That's wonderful. And one thing that I find is great about the district is that you have a lot of these students that graduate, they're coming back. They're coming back to actually educate the future. And I think that's something that you all have, it's been done here in Alief, but of course it's something that you continue to push out, that we want you to come back. We know that you're gonna leave, we want you to experience the world, but at the end of the day, we wanna make this a place where it's home. And you can always come back home. So I believe that's also something that's been really, really great here in the district.
Yeah, that's unique. Like our Cathey program and what it does for students that are looking to aspire to be educators is something that's very unique to Alief. And I tell a lot of the Cathey students, I say, a lot of times they're even more prepared than teachers going through professional certification programs at the collegiate level, just because they really get a chance to be in the work here in Alief. They're sitting in classrooms with students. They're working on, small group lessons. So the Cathey program really helps us maintain that cycle, because those teachers become assistant principals, counselors, other leaders in other capacities within the district. So it keeps the culture piece baked into what we have here at Alief.
And see, you keep doing this, Dr. Mays, because you keep leading me into my next question. So you talked about culture, okay? So we know that if you made it your personal mantra this school year to increase climate and culture in the district, in the time you've been here, have you seen this manifest, and what do you see for the future?
Yeah, I think the climate and culture piece is one, I'm in month 10. So I think for me, it's really about articulating that the culture is the focus, right? I think what I've stepped into here in Alief, people openly acknowledge that there's been a shift on the heels of COVID, in terms of what they felt like made our culture strong here in Alief. So the charge is to get back to that family and community focus. And so we've done things like really be intentional about bringing things back like Alief Proud, that we know that strengthens a sense of community. Your team's work with revamping, my focus on the superintendent's MVP, really trying to make it a robust celebration. We did a lot of hard work on the budget this year, just because that was a top piece of the conversation as people talked about culture. They talked about pay, and they talked about the need for a raise. So with us losing, about 7,000 students within the span of this past 10 years, I tell people we had to make some really tough decisions around our budget to be able to offer those raises to our staff, because at the end of the day, everybody's human and they're trying to take care of a family, but we got to pay people adequately to be able to do it. And so all of those pieces are manifestations of kind of the feedback around culture, but we still have a long way to go and we still got work to do. and I think that the team is really focused and intentional about it. So I feel like we're headed in the right direction.
That's wonderful. I agree as well. One of our questions that we got from our audience, so of course we polled some people, and so we just wanted to see, this is just a funny question, so we just wanted to know. We know that Bluebell ice cream is king in Texas, right?
Okay.
It's Bluebell ice cream and HEB, and of course, we're in Alief, so we're talking all about Houston Astros all of the time, right? So what is your favorite ice cream flavor, and what do you think that says about you? And you have to answer. Do you have one?
So my favorite ice cream, and what does that say about me? So I will say my favorite ice cream is actually vanilla. So, I mean, it's plain, but it's good, But when I go to an ice cream shop, I actually do vanilla, I do strawberry, I do pecan praline. I mix it all together. Okay. So I usually mix it all together and get a nice shake because there's a variety of flavors that I like. And so usually I mix all those flavors together and make a nice shake. But the base is always vanilla, so that's my favorite ice
But
cream
the good thing about it is that when you talk about it's a mix of things, I think that anybody that knows you or gets to know you realizes that there is this Dr. Mays, and then depending on how you catch them, there's another Dr. Mays. And I think that's indicative really of like who we all are, right? And as a leader, we wanted to bring you on here because we wanted to people to see you in a humanistic way, right? That of course you're the superintendent of schools, but you're a father, you stated all the things that you are, but at the core, you're a human being just like everyone else. So I want to again thank you so much, Dr. Mays, for coming to speak with us today. We're hoping that not only do you come back as a guest, you hopefully will come back as a host very soon to be able to do that.
Happy to do it.
Yes, and so on our way out, we just want to let the people know, how can they follow you? How can they find out more about you?
Yeah, I think the best way to reach us is, of course, social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. I know a lot of our students love Instagram. We're trying to do more with the Instagram platform because we see so many students on there, and so we're working on our reels because that's a new concept for us. But we definitely want people to be visiting all of our social media platforms and taking full advantage of the communication stuff that we're pushing out, because we're constantly pushing out stuff. I try to make sure that we correspond weekly through correspondence from my desk to everybody within the district. And so again, we want to make sure that as many layers as we can provide for communication, that we do just that. Upon my entry, we added Vietnamese as a part of our translation, and so we're going to continue to try to develop translations because we know 96 different languages are spoken here in Alief, and so it's important to us that we're communicating with everybody. And so that's a work in progress, but we're happy to take feedback on how do we communicate better with our community.
Perfect. So again, thank you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to ImpactED Podcast. Remember to like, to share, subscribe. And as always, we are Alief proud, and we can't wait for you to turn back into it soon. So take care. Bye-bye.